Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Colin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Cut the Sweet. If you really want to feel bad about yourself, have a little bit of pride in a website and then sit down with an SEO expert to pick it apart.
No. What? That doesn't sound like any fun whatsoever.
Oh, no.
Normal people say hello, but okay.
I mean, yeah. What happened to ahoy? How's it going?
No, we're changing plans. We're just diving right into middle of a conversation to make it seem.
Colin is just apparently exhausted from search engine optimization. Did I get it right this time?
Very good.
Hey, I remembered a thing.
There you go. Did a thing. No, so we have a website and stuff and was like, hey, we're now moving business locations for the pet sitting stuff, and kind of we're like, oh, we need to have a good website. And it's one that I built and have maintained and tried to do little stuff on, and we sat down. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I've done stuff to it. And I sat down with this lady who is extremely nice and really appreciate her and all of her hard work. And she gave all of this for free, which is amazing. But I have several pages of notes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I really do have to pay attention to header tags, and I have to remap these web pages, and I've got to do more internal linking, and I've got to do. Okay. Fuck.
That sounds positively horrid. Let's be honest here.
I mean, it's one of those things of like, she was like, I chose a web hosting for the website that was extremely easy to use, not very nitpicky, and very WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, like drag and drop, like things.
I have not heard anybody use that phrase in quite a long time.
No, very 90s term. Early 2000s. But it's very much that of like, I'm not doing any programming. I'm not doing any HTML. I'm not in PHP 7.4, whatever the crap that is. I did this because I was like, I'm going to be the one maintaining this. I have to be able to do all these things. So it's not as flexible as some of the stuff. But
yeah, but you don't have to. I mean, isn't it weird to think about how really like 20 years ago you had to know HTML or Java to do any of that?
Yeah.
And like in order to make the website, you were basically just typing lines of code in a thing and being like, maybe that's what I want.
Exactly. I can't tell you how to make a box on a website, because there's
also that's why old internet looks like wonky, because it's like
it looked real bad.
There's four colors and it's gray and like
very not.
There's just some dancing hamsters on it, right? It's fine. Everything's fine.
You know what? That is indeed what my website needs. I need some dancing hamsters, and I need some monkeys that need to be punched.
That dancing hamster website is still active.
I think, yeah.
Somebody recreated it, and it is active, and you could link to it just as a joke, like because it still exists. I found it a few months ago because I was curious, and I was like,
in fact, at hamster.dance. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Somebody recreated the thing.
I love this stuff
because reasons, but it is there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I remember like GeoCities was a big thing around that time.
Angelfire, another one.
Angelfire,
yeah,
was for building websites. So it really has come a long way of like this democratization and commoditization of a lot of this stuff, where you don't have to know these things. So again, where she was telling me to do certain things, it was kind of like, look, if I could do that, I totally would. It's a great idea. Because what Squarespace does is that's on all websites, whatever. But like that's you, listener, are currently using a Squarespace website because that's where, brother. Anyway, but it's very template based, and so like some templates have some features that others don't, and there's no way to add features to certain templates. You have to tear it all down and reuse the other.
Oh, interesting.
Which, so it's not like a total free for all. You have to use or not use certain things and make these judgment calls of what you'd want to, like what you deem as important, basically.
Well, that's mildly annoying if you have an existing website and then you, like, let's say your business adds more cities or expands, just hypothetically, and you need other features. Basically, that means you have to dismantle the one you had and then re-piece it back together inside a different template.
It does,
if you need different features, that's mildly annoying. Like
it does in fact mean that. Or let's say you built a website based off of templates that no longer exist anymore.
Oh dear, yes.
Yeah, and there's no like update tool. So that's
convenient.
That's what I'm doing with the other one. So that's fun. That's enjoyable. Of like, I want these features because the new template, and they're like, you have to upgrade the whole thing. So I'm having to
no,
a slow process. Anyway, I was on the phone with her for her and Megan for over an hour.
Oh wow,
talking about stuff. It was really good. Yeah, it's all good stuff, but it's just like,
well, yeah, that's just a lot of time to be talking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, where you're just kind of like, okay, I need a
fun, odd segue. But a thing that I learned this week is that in the 90s, when you had to be a professional to make a website and you had to know HTML and Java, that is how Heaven's Gate earned a lot of their money, because a lot of their members were computer programmers. And they did freelance website design and building for companies and other people. And that is how they earned money for their cult.
Oh.
Fun fact.
Fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Fun. Well, that is certainly a fact we learned today.
Look, we're talking about the 90s. It's a natural segue. Can't talk about the 90s without talking about weird cults, specifically Heaven's Gate. So, there you go.
Man, wow, that's a.
I learned that. Watched a thing this week, and they mentioned that. I was like, whoa,
yeah,
weird.
Kind of capitalize on the demand, and again, if you just have a bunch of in-house people, and you're just like, okay, well, this is how we earn money is through this.
It was really weird. Yeah, they all they would teach each other how to do it. And so a lot of them did it, and they made really good money doing that to finance their cultish ways. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did really well for them, I hear.
Yeah. I mean, for them it did, I guess. That's what they wanted.
This is very dark of me, but could you imagine having a website that was built by them and you need the support the next day?
Oh no, this has gone wrong.
Going to voicemail.
I wonder why.
Huh. Something on the news.
yeah, totally not connected. Obviously, it's fine.
Anyway, so
yes.
Okay. Well, that's fresh on my mind because we literally just did that an hour ago. So
there you go. Well, speaking of updates from things that I have an update for you about last week's episode.
Okay.
This week, I have done much research.
Uh-oh. Oh, you've prepared.
And I have come to inform you that, yes, indeed, Are You Being Served is still funny. There you go. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I've been doing extensive research this past week. I've discovered that there are many episodes that are just on YouTube.
Okay.
Shh, don't tell. And you can just watch them. And it has been kind of funny because I've been clicking on random ones. So it is kind of like watching them when they're on PBS because it's just like random episodes here and there.
Whatever's on.
Yeah. I also found the movie. It's not really very good. Mostly because Are You Being Served has 5 jokes. That's it. They're just the same 5 for 10 seasons.
Oh.
Now, here is an interesting phenomenon. In the movie, number one, the movie is very jarring because like the cinematic camera quality is so like it's such a shock to you from seeing, like, it's so different from the television show angles and camera quality that it's very like it's disjointed at first because you're like, what am I looking at? My brain doesn't understand this. But I feel like this phenomenon highlights why binge watching can be negative.
Okay.
Right? Because a show like this, it is funny and the jokes are funny and the timing is hilarious, right? But like, it's the same 5 jokes forever. So if you're watching this show like weekly or just like every once in a while, it's hysterical, right? I bet if you sat down, I didn't do this, but I bet if you sat down and you watched every single episode back to back to back to back to back, you'd be like, this isn't really very funny.
Right.
It's old, right? But the fact that it used to be on television like weekly and then like go off for whatever, and then they would come back with the next series, you know, I bet it was much more enjoyable that way.
No, that makes total
right?
sense. Well,
so I think there are definitely, that means there's probably other shows where like the binging phenomenon is like terribly bad and like the worst idea because it would just like kind of ruin the thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I don't know. I really enjoy the TV show House.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good example, actually.
Yeah, of like each episode kind of has the same story arc and like the kind of same like
it's a formula, right?
It's very.
There are some different ones that they throw in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That are like, whoa, what the heck?
By and large, it's pretty formulaic with what's going to happen and how it's going to end. Like
again, they will mention Guillain-Barré at some point.
It's always on a flip chart. There's always a circle on it or an arrow. Absolutely.
It's true. One time it actually was Guillain-Barré and they didn't guess it at the beginning. That's how I knew it was it, actually.
Oh.
I was like,
see? Exactly.
It wasn't the first thing they guessed.
But yeah, I think that's a good point of how differently TV shows like that have to be produced now, knowing that the binge phenomenon is very real. Or maybe, I don't know, like, do you think a TV producer would sit down and go, okay, how is this going to screen when they watch this back to back, back to back, back to back? And because I kind of see a lot of modern ones that kind of are really just a really long movie because it is more continuous.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think that shows that are made specifically for online platforms do think about that, right? So when you watch a show that Amazon has made or that like was produced by Netflix or something, like I feel like those shows tend to think about that more. You're right. It does feel like the whole season is like a story and it kind of has these arcs that go between every episode as where like television shows not necessarily, right? Like shows that are produced for television, like Law and Order, right? Law and Order, like there are these like dun, right? Pick the show that's been on for like 7,000 years. They do have these like weird threads that last all season, but every episode is like a story.
Yep.
You know, I know that's slightly different because it's like a police drama, but House is kind of like that. And I guess it depends on the style of show, you know what I mean? Because like, Are You Being Served is like a sketch. It's just kind of like a little comedy show, you know? So like every episode, there is kind of like a thing that happens. You know, there's like an event, and every episode is about that one event, and there's like no overarching story.
Yeah.
But because it's comedy, the same 5 jokes just show up, and you know the same thing. But there is also another strange phenomenon that I'd uncovered while watching this on YouTube.
Okay.
I was reading through the comments, and literally every comment is somebody being like, "Oh my gosh, I just loved watching this show with my grandma when it was on PBS on Saturday."
What?
I am not even joking. Hundreds of these comments of people that did that experienced the show exactly how we experienced.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, look, we were part of a phenomenon, apparently.
Yeah, so it's like this secret cultural phenomenon that I didn't know existed until I started reading these comments, and I was like, wait. They're like, oh yeah, we used to, like, literally, I saw somebody write, maybe it was you, I don't know. They were like, oh man, yeah, I remember I used to just sit on the couch and watch this with my grandma on the weekends. Like, what? What?
Looking
no
slightly behind you to see if anything.
Yeah, like what? What's that? Oh my gosh! Like,
oh wow!
So yeah,
it
was really weird.
Awesome.
The more of those comments I read, I was just like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" Like, man. I was not expecting to uncover this.
No
cultural phenomenon that is, are you being served reruns on the weekends on PBS with the grandparent? Like, literally.
I wonder. Okay, there seems to. Okay.
This was my initial reaction too. It's okay. It's hard to process.
Yeah. Of like, okay, wow. Like, I mean, I guess that I don't even know. Like, okay. That is something. I guess. I mean, it really was one of those things of like, PBS station obviously is for a certain target demographic, and that time of night, I guess. I don't even know if that was. I mean, my big question, I guess, for a while was always like, is this a show that, like, this couldn't have been a show that Mimi watched in the 70s?
Well, no, because it would only have been on British television.
Exactly. So it. So I guess it was just more of a, hey, look at this show that is kind of capturing the 70s, but it was British 70s. It wasn't even US. So,
well, they do talk about some things, right? I've seen some episodes they talk about like the gas crisis, right, and all this stuff, and like there's also this like underlying thing that you didn't really notice when you're younger about like how incredibly stupid the managerial structure is. Right? Like, it's a big satire on that. Right? Like, all the, like, oh, excuse me, are you free? Like, they're just, like, standing in the corner. Like, oh, yes, I am. Yes, yes, of course. Like, you know, like this, like, having to report to your senior who has to go report to Captain Peacock, who has to go report to Mr. Rumbold or whatever. Like, that's the dumbest thing. Captain Peacock's literal job is, like, completely useless. He just sort of stands there and goes, oh, yes, ladies is over there. Oh yes, menswear is over there. When you can clearly see that it's over there, like his job is useless.
Yeah, no, this interesting. Man, yeah, I haven't gone back and watched those in a little while.
You should try to watch at least one, because you're gonna be like, whoa. There's some stuff that jumps out to you like that like wasn't as apparent. Like the weird crude humor was there when you were a kid.
Well, yeah,
but like. The really strange, like, satirical nature of the, like, business managerial structuring and just how redundant and idiotic it is.
Well,
is like, when you're older, you're like, aha! Especially if you've worked in a few jobs now, especially if it's like a retail job, you're gonna be like, oh dear, yes, this is silly, isn't it?
This is very real. all too real, probably.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This has been a week of revelations here.
Apparently. So, Yeah, I wonder if that was again, like they enjoyed that kind of commentary on that, and then the nostalgia for that time period, and what even maybe, I don't know, even maybe some of the retail shops would have been like too, of kind of, you know, that level of customer service and kind of the stereotype of who worked there and what they were doing.
Yeah, and just it might have been something, or it could have been simply like, oh hey, we can air this show for no money because the rights cost no dollars, so we're just gonna go with this. Right, that could also be.
I'm 100% sure that's exactly why PBS had the rebroadcast rights for that. I'm still trying to figure out why on earth so many people watched it.
Yeah, I don't know. Right, I think I think part of it was that time. Right, we remember that was back in the days of you have 5 channels. That's it, and it was running opposite. Like, if my memory serves correctly, it would have been at the same time as like the news on the other stations. So if you don't want to watch the news, bam. You know what I mean? Like, if you are a kid who doesn't want to watch the nightly news on the weekend, right? You watch that, you know? Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're running opposite that stuff, right, it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, we could watch this instead of like the, NBC nightly news or whatever. Don't care about that. I want to watch this, like, because I'm imagining it was on like 7 or something, right? Like 7 or 8, maybe. I don't really know. Don't have any TV guides from 1996 laying around. Actually, you know what? I might. Come to think of it, I do have one in my desk at Dad's house. Yo,
see.
I'm gonna have to see if I had it because there was something on the cover that made me. I think it was like a Beatles thing. The PBS was doing a Beatles special, and I think she gave it to me, and I think I just stuck it in a drawer. So that's what I do, and I think it's still there.
See.
Okay, investigating that. I had to make a note of that. But yeah, like, I think part of it too would be if it was running against that stuff on the weekend. You watch the shows, like the earlier shows, and then when it cuts to the news, you just like flip over to another channel that doesn't have the news on because you don't want to watch the news as a child with your grandparent on the couch on Saturday. So that could be part of it as well. But like, yeah, I had that sort of that same realization of like, whoa, like this is a really weirdly specific, apparently very widely shared experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't really prepared to uncover, right? Just the fact that like so many people had that same experience.
Yeah, not just that they watched it or were aware of it, but like in the very real context of like grandma.
Yes, I watched this when I spent the weekend at my grandmother's house. Like, what? Wait a minute.
I feel like we need to start a online community for us. I think this is what
I feel like that might be a thing that needs to happen. So let this be the opening salvo in that. Like, hey guys, if you watched Are You Being Served with Your Grandparent on PBS on Saturdays, let us know because I want to hear from you. That'd be very exciting.
Well, I don't know if very exciting, but
it'd be very interesting, right?
Interesting. Yeah. I know, Aaron, what kind of memories do you have from watching those? And I think more importantly, what's the community's tagline?
So I never really, like, I remember watching that show, but I think the one thing I could never wrap my head around was like, was this one of those shows that was like, what is it called? Like a linear based show that's like it follows like a pattern, or like there's a story driven narrative. But as I got older and watched some of those episodes, I was like, oh, this is literally just all random. Like none of this makes sense. So that kind of helped me like piece together. I was little. I didn't understand any of the humor or anything behind it. Like that just some old person laughing. Or, it was funny because Mimi laughed, and I was like, oh, okay, so therefore I should laugh, or you guys were laughing. So I mean, I liked it. I could not tell you the rhyme, reason, or the function of the other show with Mrs. Bucket and everything. Like
I didn't research that.
I couldn't compute that one when I was little. So I remember watching them. I distinctly remember asking, like, "Hey, is after dinner are we going to watch Are You Being Served?" And I never asked that when I was at home because we had like other channels. But like when we were at Mimi's, like, "Hey, is Are You Being Served coming on?" And like, granted, she only had 7 channels.
5.
So there wasn't
the 5.
There wasn't a whole lot to watch. But it was like, hey, is Are You Being Served coming on? I really wouldn't mind watching that. And I was like, why am I saying that? Why is this show? This show doesn't make any sense. But it was fun to watch. So I enjoyed it from what little I could understand, which was not a lot.
It's true. Some of the context is definitely lost on you younger. Like I said, like when they're talking about like the board of directors, or I was up in the boardroom. Oh, and they're just like, oh, I just love the boardroom. You're like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was like 10, I was like, what? I don't know what that means. Yeah. Now I'm like, that's silly. Why do you care that much?
Yeah. Well, that is a fascinating research.
A shocking revelation, to be sure.
Revelations. Bringing only the hard hitting of news here.
Indeed.
Here's another random question. I don't know if you're done with your revelations.
I think that might be it. Yes.
Okay, we moved from Heaven's Gate to Are You Being Served? I think another jump here,
just like the 90s.
More important. I don't know. Not more important question, but a question that I have is, this is just me. Okay, so the idea, concept, practice of having coffee after dinner. Have we talked about that on this show?
Not like in a specific context. We have mentioned that you drink coffee 24/7, and that's about it.
True. So
I have drinking coffee at like way into the afternoon. Like I've made it before. I've made Starbucks runs when I've got home from work. I'm like, I don't. Everyone, shut up! I need coffee. I've definitely had those moments. So fear not.
No, but I mean, like in the growing up, Dad would get a coffee at the end of dinner when we were like eating out, right? And it was with dessert, right? You'd eat dinner, you'd get a coffee, you'd get dessert.
At dinner?
Yeah.
I remember. I know what Colin's talking about. Yeah,
and he would.
I remember him doing this like at lunchtime, like when we go to like McSalty's or something.
Quote, cut the sweet, right? And he'd take the ice cream from.
I don't understand that practice.
Stir that. Mimi was also very big about like you'd have dinner and then she'd say, "Does anybody want coffee?"
True.
When was sitting down. Is that that practice of doing that? Is that a Midwestern thing? Is that just
no? I think that's much older than that. I feel like that's when you read 19th century British literature, that shows up a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It's a thing that shows up there in like households. It's the thing they do. Now, I don't know why they do that exactly, but that is a thing. And so it's a very old, whatever. It's older kind of thing to do that. I don't know why coffee. I think part of it is the bitterness, right? To sort of calm the stomach, right? Or whatever. Generally evening coffees are much more dark roasted because they don't have high levels of caffeine in them. The darker the roast sort of burns it out, right?
Sure.
So that might be part of it. I have never understood the cutting the sweet phenomenon. Susan says that. Her mother says that. I'm like, can I have another cookie, please? So I don't really understand. I don't know what they're talking about, right? Because she'll always be like, oh, yes, I need this cracker. Something salty. I'm like, what?
Cut the sweet.
What? I want some more pie. What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand.
Sure, I will cut the sweet with more sweet. What are we doing?
Yeah. But I did think about that the other day because I did do that. We had some friends over, I don't know, last weekend, I guess. Just to like hang out. And it was like my friend's birthday. So we like had dinner and like hung out or whatever, watched a movie or whatever. But I did make coffee like after supper because I was like, oh, that sounds good right now. Like I didn't really want to cut any sweet particularly, but it was late and I was really tired. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to make some of that because I want to watch this movie. So I'm going to stay.
No, it's an interesting practice. I've talked about that with Megan before, and it was very foreign to her as to that concept or that idea of what that was, or like why people would do that. And I had suspicions that it was a carryover from across the pond, or at least some mindset of an how you conduct entertaining.
Yes, that's true. This says drinking coffee after a meal will help with digestion.
Oh.
When I did a quick Google here just right now.
Okay.
So yes, that might be the thing. Health benefits, help with digestion. I keep getting a lot of that. I don't know if that's true, or it's one of those things. It's just like people just say. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, what kind of research has actually been done on that?
Yeah, or is it just like, oh no, yes, yeah, it helps aid the digestion, don't you know?
Exactly.
Sorry, that's what happens when you watch so many episodes of Are You Being Served in a week. You start saying things like "lovely" on accident. You don't mean to. It's just
yeah. Hey. Well.
Does not give me any origins, but it does. Those seem to be the answers here.
Okay.
Oh, this is also blaming Italians.
You know what?
Italian coffee culture.
Yeah. See, they don't get enough thrown at them. I mean, they have kind of a history of having stuff thrown at them, so maybe we'll steer clear.
Yeah, again. Well, just the Italian coffee culture in general, not like it's all the Italians, but not like that. Like it's
could. I mean, wanted it to be.
Let's not do that though. Hello, Italy. We're not throwing things. It's fine.
No.
How are you? Exactly. So there you go. It's interesting though. Yeah, because I don't generally drink it, but I don't generally like think about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that was never something that I like thought about doing. I just sort of make it in the morning, and then, like Aaron said, I just drink it throughout the day. We've talked about my very appalling coffee habit of when I come home from work, there's still coffee in the coffee pot from the morning, so I throw that stuff in the microwave and just drink it when I get home. Right? It's very appalling to all the coffee aficionados out there. But yo, I can't waste it. I don't want to throw it away. I'm just gonna dump it out, right?
I'll blame that also on your grandmother.
That is 100% my grandmother's fault because she used to do that all the time.
Too. And then forget that the coffee cup was in the microwave, and then go pour a second cup, and then go to warm that up in the microwave and find the first cup.
Only to find the first cup was still in there. Yes. As yet, I have not done that. Now, saying that, I'll probably do it tomorrow, but I have not quite done that yet.
If Susan,
I do oftentimes, like I will heat it up, and I'll put it on the counter, and then like I'll walk out of the kitchen, go do something, and then I'll come back in my room and sit down and then be like, wait, it's on the counter in the kitchen. Like leave it in there. Because I'll like talk to Susan or like ask her something, right? And then like I'll just walk off and leave it sitting on the counter.
Yeah.
And then I'll come in here and sit down and I'll like go to grab it and like, what? Oh, it's not here. Dang it.
Happens like, quite a lot when I go from our office, and I'll have to take something downstairs to the kitchen, and then that's where it stays, back up in the office.
Yeah. So I reach towards the coaster where it should be. And I'm like, what? Oh. It's Lillian still out there.
Lillian has made me quite a wonderful coaster out of a post-it note, which she has written, I love you, Dad. And then in all capital letters, coffee goes here, Dad.
It's very important.
That's where I put my coffee now.
Coasters are important, right?
Speaking of coasters, other sense memory that I had the other day. We were in Applebee's, eating, and
all the sense memories right there. That's after church.
Exactly. The coasters, the little paper
ones. Yes.
That they used to give you that would sit there, that would stick to the bottom of the glass cup. So when you picked it up, it would still be sticking there, and you'd have to peel it off and stick it down, and then it would like go through with the water because of the condensation. And they didn't give us. It's been a couple of years since we've been there. They didn't give us any of the paper coasters, their little napkin coasters thing. And I was very thankful because those were super annoying.
I demand coasters. Give me my coaster back.
No, I was like, good, because those were totally useless. And not.
They didn't get the table wet, did they? No, they did their job.
Actually, they sacrificed it. Table.
That's true. Mine do that every once in a while. They stick in the they'll startle me because they'll like fall off the bottom of my cup. Like, whoa,
sure.
Like my water glass, not like my coffee, but like, okay, never mind.
Aaron, do you have heat? And have you been startled by any coasters falling this week?
Do
you use coasters? What are your thoughts on coasters?
Yeah, are you a coaster fan?
I have coasters. Definitely in my bachelor time period, before the age of Shelby. I had these little like rubber coasters that Mimi got me in college. That they're all like these different colors. I'm like, man, these coasters are so cool. I'm always going to use them. And then weirdly, we don't use them anymore. But I use coasters. I have one here in my office I'm using. I have some of those bigger metal water things that they don't leak. So there's no real point in using a coaster, but at the same time, it's nice to have to be like, oh, excuse me, let me use my coaster real quick. So that's kind of nice. But I have coasters, and yes, I do have heat in my classroom.
Way!
I got it last week before the big freeze coming up, but we annoyingly didn't have internet or the ability to print anything for like a day. And the poor IT people were back and forth from our little quandary of a school. So IT people, thank you for dealing with that. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, have heat. Was able to actually get into my classroom for the first time and like ever. That was really nice. But yeah, everything's kind of back on track, thankfully.
This is good news. I'm very glad that you're not frozen to death.
Yes.
Hunched over a computer.
My students were also very thrilled that we we're so glad to be back. Like, yeah, thank you.
My room, yay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the big freeze, how much snow is everybody expected to get? Snow count.
I have to Google if I don't know. I just know it's a lot, but I do know that we don't have school tomorrow. So
it's me neither.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mostly ours was because it was supposed to start turning to freezing rain around 5:00 this morning. And so we are actually forecasted to have about a 1/4 inch of ice, which is not very exciting. Yeah. So I don't know how that will. I'm interested to see how that pans out because it was 60 degrees today. But the temperature is going down. Like it's just scheduled to go down only. Right. The wind has shifted, it looks like, so this morning it was blowing like pretty hard out of the south, right? Now it is 11 miles an hour northeast. So that cold air is driving down now, boys.
Yeah.
Down. And it's gonna just keep going down till Thursday.
It's not going to be. Yeah, I'm really nervous about it. We are forecasted to get up to 18 inches of snow by by Thursday night. So that's not fun.
Mine says 4 to 10.
There you go. Nice. Oh, we are
up with about, it says, and still 1/4 inch of ice. So our star number has gone from like, basically we're right on the border of like, we don't know what's happening. So like, it depends very much on how fast the cold air moves through, I guess, because ours has basically been like, it's anywhere between 4 and 12.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we were 9 to 16 for a while, then we were like 12 to 18, and now I think we're somewhere between like 14 is the max. But basically, like tonight that we're forecasted to get 3 to 5 inches. Tomorrow morning's 3 to 5, and then tomorrow night's another 3 to 5.
See, ours isn't supposed to start. Again, the other thing too is ours was supposed to be like freezing rain and ice in the morning, and then switch to snow. About it's not supposed to snow here till about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if it's icy and then snowed, if we would have been at school, we would have been stuck at school, right? Like that wasn't me.
Ick.
That would be very exciting.
No, well, and even just this afternoon, from the time I left our house to go pick up Noah, the temperature dropped 2.5 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. After like our temperature, the wind started switching around like 5. It went from about 58 to like 40, like real quick. Like,
oh no, thank you.
Not 40, but like right now it's already this after a few. Let's see. Yeah, 3 o'clock today. It was about 60 degrees. Right now it's 44.
Wow.
So we dropped 20 degrees or so. Yeah. In 5 hours.
That's a wow.
So
that's not fun.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much we got. I've got to go put out some more. I've got to put out some salt. Try and keep stuff walkable. Be fun. Fun's what.
Yeah. I told the kids that regardless, their homework is take a picture of how much snow you actually get in your yard. That's our science homework. We have to
measuring stick. Compare.
Yes. They were like, I was like, you will have homework for me. And they were like, what? And I was like, you have to use your iPad to take a picture of how much snow ends up at your house. And they were like, oh, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Scared them a little bit. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, snow measuring. And they're like, oh, okay.
Ha. Love
it. So it'll be interesting to see if any of them actually listen. This will be funny. We're talking about weather right now, so it's perfect timing, really.
Yes. For exactly what you.
Again, one of the bonuses of teaching weather in the third quarter is that in Missouri you get all of it. You can can see all the excitement this at all times. So go from nice and warm to cold to rain to ice to snow.
To snow. Yeah, slightly less than freezing.
Yeah. So, Aaron, what else has been going down in Oklahoma? How are other things down there? Got the heat update. What else has been going on?
Heat, getting baseball season starting off, coming up. Practices are very interesting. A lot of kids have never actually played before, so we're going to deal with a lot of that. The slow pitch softball season is kicking off. So that's exciting. Drove first bus route last week to moderate success in some way, shape, or form. It was very interesting bus route. I sent a picture to Colin. So on my bus route, or the one that I've been learning to drive, it's
I'm glad you accepted it's your bus route forever now.
That's nice.
No, we'll be off and on with it. It's so the route itself it's just weird. Like it's very windy and back road here, back road there, like 90% dirt. Like obviously, and
yeah, that part's not surprising.
And so it's also just weird because like some of the places where you have to like turn around at is like you have to turn around like in the middle of like the highway, which doesn't make sense. And so I had it Friday, was day one, and it wasn't too bad. Like I had a lot of the kids helping me. That bus route is just wild because it has majority of like elementary kids, and of course they're like, new person, and so they're just loud, and it's very difficult on our buses because due to the quality of the dirt roads, it has literally shaken our buses like almost pieces. So
I say
parking,
it's pretty washboarded, isn't it? It's just like
yeah. The like so bad that like we had the parking brake fixed at the beginning of the year. However, it is now broken like 4 separate times. And so like having to stop and like especially when you back into it in our little tiny parking lot of a bus parking lot, there's these little like concrete benches that you literally have to back the bus into until it hits, and it's like, oh, good enough. Not going to move, and it's like, oh
no,
okay. So that's
worrying.
fun. So day one of me driving by myself, that was probably like, it's like the largest bus because it's like a 70 some odd passenger bus, which like I've driven before, but like with confined kids and on a highway, there's one part, and like I was doing good. Oh man, this kid! Like, hey, all right, who's this kid? So I was killing it, and then I had to get to a turnaround. And what they typically did is that they would turn into this dirt road off the highway, back into the highway, and then turn around. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
It sounds slightly unsafe.
Very.
Yeah. And so I'm like, man, I don't need to do that. And so I'm looking. I was like, I'll just turn around here. That part was successful. However, I didn't see one part of the ditch, and I just smoked this bus like in the back of the ditch. Like I was just backing up and just wham, and like not like a lot that like the kids screamed or anything. It was just like a weird silence. And I was like,
Bill would be so proud right now. That's just exactly what.
Good. And just the round of laughter from most of these little kids and some of the high schoolers. I was like, man, that ditch came out of nowhere. And those high schoolers were like, hey, coach, you really got a hold of that one. I was like, yeah, I'm just keeping you guys safe. And when I was pulling off, one of the kids was like, coach, there's a black thing in the road. I was like, I'm sure it's fine.
No.
So yesterday, same bus route, doing much better. In the backing of the route options and everything. And so we get to the exact same turn. I was like, hey, I'm not going to hit that part of the ditch again. I'm actually going to go here and turn around much more smooth.
Hit this different part of the ditch. Boom.
And I was like, why is there a mud flap? I was like, oh, that's for me.
That's mine. Oh, no.
And yeah, it was a nice little dent, so to speak. It had a nice little coming, like the back part was just bent out, like enough that you could be like, oof, that's that looks not very nice. And so that was yesterday, and so today I was like, I'm going to do this map or this route without a map. It's going to be fine. And then they're like, oh, you're going to do a different bus route today because this person's going to be gone. Like, I just learned this bus route.
And you're destroying our
bus. Well, that's what's probably going to happen is that this guy that's been driving it for the past, like, 14 years is going to come back. He's like, why is my bus destroyed? I was like, oh, crazy kid. This bus route that I've driven today is it has less kids, but the mileage between like two kids is like there's in a 30-mile stretch ish, there's like two children. 30 miles,
Wow. That's
two kids. And so it's just like,
oh boy.
oh. So I rode with the band teacher, who is he's a wonderful guy, but he's very crazy. And he was just blasting down these dirt roads. And he's like, oh, here's the stop here if that kid was here. And, oh, here's the stop here if that kid was here, but they're not. And I haven't seen this kid in 3 months. I don't know if they'll be on either. And I'm only going to drive his bus route like twice next week if we have school. But he's going to be gone for state band competition. And so that'll be kind of nice. But he was just taking me on, and it was vastly different compared to like the craziness of the kids last bus onto this on his bus, because it was just like quiet. The kids were like listening. Like, well, I like this bus. This bus is actually really, really nice. And so it was just a nice, change to see. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a completely different route. And they're like, well, you may have to do morning. I was like, nope. I drive. I had to get up at 4, be down here just in time. They're like, oh, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. I'm like, who do you think? So thankfully, I will not have to do a morning route, but for sure a afternoon route like once or twice.
I told you they were going to try to make you do it. I told you.
We've literally.
Well, he forgot that I was so far away, and I was like, no, this is not happening. He's like, oh, well, why? And my super was like, why not? And I was like, you realize how far away I live? He's, oh yeah, you do live pretty far. I'm like, yeah, I do live far. I'm not coming in that early. He's like, oh, that's probably a good idea. And so,
I mean, I think in Oklahoma the term "far" means something different.
Yes.
Right. Like,
and so
if you tell somebody I live far, they're really thinking like, oh, that's pretty close, actually. Like,
it's not that bad.
So yeah, it was. There's a lot of work for baseball and softball, so it was just a little bit frustrating. Where they're like, "Hey, you also have to learn this completely new route. Good luck, and you might drive it tomorrow." I was like, "Oh no, we're out of school tomorrow. Oh man, I wish."
Oh darn, how sad.
It's kind of nice to get the kind of little space, but I was not thrilled to just completely get a whole new route. Our facilities makes it difficult because we don't have indoor facilities for practice, and we've been canceling a lot of practices. Like, we really want to get the stuff in, but we can't because all of our coaches have to drive these stupid bus routes, and it's just frustrating. But I didn't have internet this morning, which made it very more frustrating. I finally got it in the afternoon, but we're only talking about, in geography, we're talking about Canada. So I, of course, showed clips from the great Canadian documentary, Canadian Bacon, in which I had the kids watch hockey videos and learn the Canadian national anthem. So we have a test on Friday, and it's going to be fun. If we have school, that is.
I mean, yeah, it's test next week. That's
exactly.
Yeah. Weather permitting, that is. Yeah. That's all been going down on this end.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'm also slightly upset that you didn't show them any curling videos.
Yeah, we didn't get that far.
Okay, because that's come on now. They need to know about curling. That's important, especially because surprise, the Winter Olympics start this week. What the heck? When did that happen? That snuck up on me hardcore.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, there's kind of a lot of other stuff going on in the world these days.
Nah. Yes, that's why we need to talk about curling. That's important.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we need to. When are they airing curling? Maybe we'll do a live broadcast.
Curling watch along party.
Oh yes, and I could have you finally. Oh, okay. So, I was gonna say we can finally talk about like the rules. Oh, look at this on the Olympics.com homepage. They're listening to us. There's a giant photo that says a brilliant curling story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
Oh,
this is great.
Terrifying on so many
They
levels.
know it's the best. So listeners, be on the lookout for our top 5 favorite Winter Olympic events coming soon, coming in a few weeks.
Coming in a few weeks or next week. I don't know.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on how much we get to watch. I have to remember some Olympic events. I only can think of 2 right now that I like to watch. So, 3. I got 3rd.
Seriously, I went to the Winter Olympics website to grab the URL to throw in the show notes, and I just texted you what greeted me, which tells you just how thrilling these Olympics are going to be. But on the note of weird sports that have odd rules,
yes, Megan, I'm so excited for curling.
Megan and I took the kids into Kansas City, mostly to go grocery shopping, but also we went to a trampoline park for the first time, which was overwhelming.
Are you still alive? How is your knees?
My knees are fine.
Okay. Did you bounce or did you just watch the children bounce?
I just watched the children.
Did Megan bounce?
There was there was a lot of other really little kids there, and
you know how uncoordinated Colin is. He would have killed them.
It would have been those kids made their choice.
That's they signed the waiver. They knew what was coming.
Exactly. Ungangly man comes flying towards their face.
Is Megan a secret trampolinist?
She does like the that's
nice.
But I will say, then after we went to we did our trampolining, we then found the closest Indian restaurant to go get naan
as one does.
And what did they have on playing on the TV screen behind us?
Was it cricket?
Cricket.
Yes.
Cricket. Which Lillian said, "Dad, what are they doing?" And I responded with, "Literally nobody knows."
Cricketing.
And I did recall the one time during the Indian special on Top Gear where they explained some of the rules of cricket, and it was like, actually, I can explain a little bit of this, but not very much. So it was fun to sit there and talk about the wicket, and the shape of the pitch, and all these things. And I thought that was pretty fun to watch them. The kids were absolutely enthralled, and it was adorable as they ate their little samosas.
It's because that game is crazy.
It makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really. There's also 2 versions because one game can last literal days.
Yes.
And the other one is shorter.
Yeah. They have what was I forget what the different what the formats of those are called.
I don't remember either, but there is like the long version, which is just it's so long.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. It's bad long.
Anyway.
But the other ones are better.
So no, that was good. Anyway, the whole curling thing reminded me of like, oh yeah,
I like to watch curling. Cricket, I mean, is not something that you find just like on TV though very often. You definitely have to seek that one out. That's not one that just like jumps out and gets you. Like, oh hey, did you see the cricket? No, it did not. Had to search it out, find it.
They had fun.
Well, I mean, obviously in the Indian restaurant because like it's one of the best sports, the most loved sports in all of India, right there with field hockey. Interestingly,
what was funny is that had not giant flag, but they had a framed saying that when in doubt, order chicken tikka masala with garlic naan. And I only saw this after I had ordered chicken tikka masala with garlic naan.
I mean, it's not wrong. It's
not wrong. And I was like, and when he served it, the guy brought it, and I was like, look, I did not realize I was literally framed in your restaurant here. And he was like, what? And I was like, over there. He
wasn't paying attention. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
I was like, what just you can eat? Please stop. Like, stop.
Yeah. Would you quit already? I don't know what you're talking about.
So anyway, that
that's kind of funny. I was trying to find, I forgot the thing. I was going to say, if you go all the way back to the This Is Only Half Over episode, I watched a movie about cricket. So you could watch that movie with my girl, Rani Maharji, who's amazing. And they have all kinds of cricket stuff in there. But I was trying to find the name of it, and I don't remember.
Okay. So while you search for that, I will say that cricket the forms they come in. One of them is called Test cricket.
Yes,
that's like the one, like that's the big brand, like the highest whatever. That's the one that has had the longest, that has the long games, and I think one of them was like 8 days or something, or 9.
Yeah, it's ridiculously long. Like,
which I don't even know how that functions. Like,
I don't. Yeah, it's because the out rule is weird. Like, you just bat until everybody is like the way that they do batting and like the way that they count like quote unquote outs is weird because like it's really hard to find that, like, so that's I don't remember exactly how they do that. It's really weird. Here we go. Do. Oh, yes. Of course.
You watched like 5 for that one.
I watched like 5 one. That's why I'm having trouble remembering which one it was, because I can't wait a minute.
Is it Darbar? Is it Mark?
No, it is Dilbol Hadipa. Yes, Dilbol Hadipa, where yes, it is where Rani Mukherjee is a really super awesome cricketer, but she's a woman, so she like disguises herself as a man to play cricket, but then she starts falling in love with the coach. Dun, dun, dun. Hilarity ensues. Much cricket is played. There you go.
Literally all the cricketing.
Huh. There we go. Sorry. I was like not going to be satisfied until I predicted that movie.
Good. Fine. We found it. I was like, I'm in the Google Sheet. I can search for something here. Give me a word.
Well, I was on the website searching the thing.
Sorry.
Using the find feature on the Oh Brother website, where you can search topics and find episodes from days gone by quickly and easily, like I just did. There you go. Blam. Brought to you by Squarespace. That's what it is.
Make ideas happen. Anyway. I hope you all survive your winter apocalypse.
I hope the power stays on. That's really what I'm worried about with the ice, because ice likes to blow up the power lines, and that makes me sad.
I was not that concerned until I saw literally 5 of those cable repair trucks with the lift bucket sitting in a parking lot, and I was like, oh
yeah. Oh, double bad for Missouri. I was talking to a guy at work today, and he was telling me that MoDOT is definitely short-staffed, and so they are not able to do as many roads as like pre-treat roads like they normally do, because they're way short on drivers. They're like all sick, and they're short-staffed anyway, like everybody else. So cool. The roads might not get clean, which is fun, exciting. But yeah, the ice is the problem The ice is the gross thing. Luckily, coincidentally, I live on the correct side of town because my side of town has all of the industry, including a very large company that develops banking software, and they also service banking software, and their power gets turned on first. And so we're on the same side of town as them. So that's like handy, right? So if the power goes out, theirs goes first, right? And all the other, like we have all the manufacturing is down on this side of town. So like their power comes next, and we're all on the same like section of the thing. So like they work down here first, usually.
Hey,
so knock on wood. And I mean, unless this pole like right outside my house goes, which that would be bad. Let's not do that.
Well, now that you said it.
Yeah, I know, right? Shouldn't have put that out there. Knock on. I'm knocking on the wood there. Yeah. So that's the only positive, right? Generally, our power is not off for super long amounts of time. The cities and the power company is pretty good about that kind of stuff. So
sure.
We'll see. Hopefully that remains true.
Yeah.
And hopefully it doesn't ice that much. Hopefully it's not a 1/4 inch of ice. That's gross. That's not pleasant.
Really not okay.
No, because that much ice with snow on top of it's just like horrid.
I can't even. Well, Aaron, have fun doing donuts in
the bus.
Do power sliding.
No promises.
Yeah.
And all the promises. Just need to send us video so we can.
There you go.
And yeah, hope everybody's power stays on.
Yeah.
Warm.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Well, love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.